All right, what's up, y'all? Sheridan back here with another video. I know I've been taking a lot more time in between these ones, but like I said in the last one, I've had a lot of stuff going on lately. We have actually a friend visiting us right now as well. But I wanted to kind of weigh in on now that the playoffs are starting, or really the play-in, and then we're getting into the playoffs. I wanted to first show you guys kind of what my original predictions were for this season and maybe make fun of some of my pretty bad takes, and then go into what my predictions are for what's actually going to happen in the playoffs now. But we'll try to get through this early part pretty quick. So yeah, here are my standings. I had them originally in my notes, so it might, I don't know if it's showing the date on here. I can't even see. I just pasted these into my docs. Originally had them written in my personal notes, but it's easier just to switch from docs to the bracket page. But here we go. All right, so starting off in the East, I don't think this was a bad pick still. I'm not mad that I made this pick. I don't think a lot of people predicted Cleveland to take the leap that it did this season, really from mostly just a coaching change and then maybe some role guys stepping up a little bit more than you thought. But I still think Celtics at 1 was a strong pick. We have the Knicks at 2. Again, I'm still pretty confident in that pick. I think that was a strong prediction. It's just, again, the Cleveland rose to the occasion. Moving on to the Magic, I expected them to just do better this year, but I think a lot of that has to do with injuries. They just were not healthy all year, and it's hard to really gain momentum as a young team when you don't have your health. So yeah, bad pick, but I don't totally think that was just, I think some of that's just bad luck. Moving on to the Bucks, I believe, is that around where I think did I get that right? Yeah, that was one that I got exactly right. So that's pretty cool. Bucks and Pacers 4-5 matchup. Solid prediction. Sixers, another one. I usually have the Sixers higher than that, and I did predict them to take a bit of a tumble in the standings this year, and I just wasn't right enough. I should have stood on that even harder. A lot of that, again, is injury, but I think, the bad play of Paul George, he's just been a total disaster over there, and Embiid just not being able to stay on the floor. They never really had a chance this season. And then the Cavs, I just did not. I underestimated, I will say. I underestimated how much a coaching change could elevate these guys. And I'm still kind of skeptical about them in the playoffs. I think they're gonna be pretty good. I was very wrong about this. So any Cleveland fans, I'm sorry. If you also thought this was gonna happen, though, you're a wizard. But moving on to the Heat, where are they? They're in the play-in somewhere. Predicted that. Maybe they're like a 9-10, though. They're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think. The Hawks, I think that's around where they're at. Maybe they're a little higher. I think they'll probably make it in. I think Trae Young is a good player. I think he's going to rise to the occasion in some clutch moments in these play-in games. And then the Hornets, again, health is a thing. I still kind of believe in that. It's hard to say. I believe to an extent in that core. I still think it has a long way to go. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the mix next year. Not in like the contender mix, but in the maybe they could, snag a 6 seed mix. I don't know. But yeah, maybe had them a little too high up this year. Moving on, we have the Raptors, also dealt with some health issues this year. Just didn't work out. The Nets, I was right on most of these teams until you look at the Pistons. That is an egregious mistake. Probably the worst pick I made. Maybe the second worst pick that I made was having the Pistons this low. I'm so high on them now. I'm so high on them. I really like that team. I liked them before. I just thought they were still maybe a year away and different things would work out with different teams. I don't know. That was a mistake. They definitely have proven to a lot of people what they're going to be able to do and that they're going to be a threat to a lot of good teams in the future. But yeah, the Bulls, Wizards, they suck. I think the Bulls maybe made the plan. They made the plan. They've been playing well lately, but they're gonna get bounced. But yeah, moving on to the West. The Thunder. I think everybody knew that was gonna happen. Thunder got the 1 seed. Nuggets. That's my team. I thought they were going to be a little more healthy this year. It was hard with Aaron Gordon out so much, Jamal out sometimes, even Jokic missed some games. We just never. I think it was something like maybe 13 games all season where we had our full starting lineup together, and that's going to be tough. So I'm not mad that I got this wrong. I think, they were within striking distance of that point, and just a couple games didn't fall their way. A couple guys weren't healthy on the right days, and we didn't catch it. The Timberwolves, I know everyone is going to clown me for this one because it's like, how could you not see Randall sucks, blah, blah, blah. I think Randall's starting to fit in there, actually. I think the Wolves could be a threat to the Lakers. The Wolves could be a threat to the Lakers. We'll get to that. I think if the Wolves ended up matched up against the Nuggets, I would probably pick them to beat us. They just have had our number. I think it's now 6 games in a row, including postseason, that they've beaten us. The NBA is a game of matchups, boys. It's a game of matchups. And I think the Timberwolves match up really well against the Nuggets. Not as well against the Lakers, but it's also a new look Lakers, and they haven't played each other in a long time. So we don't really know exactly what that's going to look like. But then the worst pick, besides possibly the Pistons pick I made, was the Pelicans at 4. I was just like, I live down here, and I'm like, they're going to come together. They're going to be healthy this year. I saw Zion, lost weight. He looked great. Just didn't matter. Didn't matter. Everyone was hurt. Murray was hurt. I think the one bright spot was Misi. He looks amazing. I mean, I saw him in person a couple times this year. He has a beautiful, beautiful game. And I'm excited to see maybe he's the next guy. Maybe they get rid of Zion. I saw they just fired maybe the head of basketball operations or something like that. Fired what's his name? Who cares? No, I can see why a lot of people thought it was dumb. It's like, oh, how can he, be blamed when the team's never healthy? Well, it's like he's kind of partly in control of who they add to the team, and I think picking guys that are injury prone or trading for guys that are injury prone is a problem. And I think, you see that with what happened with Calvin Booth over in Denver. But moving on, the Mavs, I mean, who would have picked or who would have predicted that they would trade Luka? I still don't know that they would have been the 5 seed even with healthy Luka, considering that Kyrie tore his ACL. But so many things in the universe change, If AD comes to Dallas, does Kyrie tear his ACL? Not saying that AD caused that. It's just like you never know what the chain of events happens. No, they're not playing the same game. It's just, you never know, you never know. So that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, they're nowhere near the 5. They're going to get bounced out of the play-in in the first game they play, I think. They're cooked. Kings, what a disappointing season. I mean, also did not expect them to get rid of Fox. Felt like they kind of got fleeced in that trade. I don't know. I think they might be able to catch an 8 seed. At best, they could catch an 8 seed. I could see Memphis giving up and Sacramento taking it. But I think it's going to be, I don't think that's going to be the case. Suns, man, I love to see them sucking. Hate the way they were built. I can't freaking stand KD. He's one of the most, crybaby annoying players in the league. But I love his game, let me say. He's amazing player to watch. He's an all-time talent. He's not somebody I can root for. And Matt Ishbia is a total freaking scumbag. Can't stand that guy. And so I'm glad to see the Suns failing and that formula failing. I think it goes against what I believe a team should be built like. So yeah, screw you, Suns. I'm glad I was wrong about this and that you were even worse than that. See you in Cancun. Grizzlies, I think that's where they ended up falling. 8. I think GSW is 7 and they're 8. I think they could still grab the 8 in the play-in, but I don't know. Then the Lakers, they just get given things for free. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. They're, big market teams just getting gifted, generational players for freaking pennies. It's gross to see. It's against the league I love and grew up loving. I mean, they vetoed the Chris Paul one. Why couldn't they veto this? This is so much worse than that was. This is so much worse. And I just think it's horrible for the league. It's horrible for the league. It's horrible for competition. Nico Harrison, I think, should be investigated. I'm not even kidding. I think Nico Harrison should be investigated for collusion. I think Rob Pelinka should be investigated. I cannot believe that they were able to just rob the city of Dallas like that. It's abhorrent. It's abhorrent and it's disgusting. But we'll move on. I hope the Timberwolves beat them, but if not, I'm not worried about them against. If the Nuggets play them, the Nuggets will stop them. Moving on to the Rockets, I really think that they exceeded expectations. I've always thought Ime Udoka was a great coach. I had faith in this team. I was a year off. I thought it was going to take another year for them to really rise. And I still think that's kind of the case when it comes to the playoffs, but they really impressed me this regular season. And I'll leave it at that. The Spurs, I honestly think if Wemby stayed healthy, they would have been higher than where I predicted them. Unfortunately, he did not. Fox did not. And that was a cool pickup for them. But I think, just shutting it down for the season, figuring it out, hopefully these blood clots with Wemby are not too serious and it's something that stays a thing of the past. But you never know. I've seen a lot of careers ruined like that. It's definitely plateaued some careers, and I don't want to see that. But it's been weird seeing a lot of blood clots lately in the league. I hope it's not connected to like a medicine they're taking or something like that. That would be really, really sad and not good. Moving on to the Warriors, I didn't expect them to make a trade like that. Getting Jimmy was huge for them. I genuinely think if they didn't, they could have ended up down here. But they did. I think that's awesome. I think it's going to be cool to watch Steph in the play-in. Historically, they don't have great success in the play-in, but I think they'll be fine this year. Jimmy's a big-time guy. And if Steph's not making it happen, Jimbo will be. So still, we'll see how that translates to the actual playoffs. The Jazz, yeah, they stink. I was right about that. The Clippers were healthy for once. I mean, what can I say? They were healthy. That's it, If I was predicting that they stayed healthy, which I just couldn't do because they never do, I would have had them a little bit higher, but probably not the 5 seed. I probably would have had them in the 6, 7, 8 range if I was like rating them healthy. But they were one of the few teams that I was just assuming would be unhealthy, and they were the team that surprised me to stay pretty healthy throughout the year. And then the Blazers, they weren't the worst team. I think the Jazz was, but they were down there. So not a bad prediction. Moving on, I'm just going to blaze through these. I had Boston, New York, Orlando, I had Boston, New York, Philly, Indiana. Moving on. And then I had OKC, Denver, Minnesota, and New Orleans moving on. That's funny to say. Oh, that's sad. Boston beating Indiana in 7, New York beating Philly in 7. And then I had OKC beating New Orleans in 6, and Denver beating Minnesota in 6. Then Boston beating New York in 6, OKC losing to Denver in 6, and then Boston losing to Denver in the finals in 6. All NBA teams, Shea, Ant, Luka, Giannis, Jokic. Luka will not be eligible. Anthony Edwards will not make it. I'm thinking it'll be probably Jason Tatum. And then who's the other guy that's in the running? Won't be Wemby. Is it going to be LeBron? Is LeBron going to be first team? He might. It might be LeBron. Did he play 65? I don't know. Moving on. Hallie is not going to make it, I don't think. Ja is not going to make it. Wemby obviously didn't play enough games. Sabonis is not going to make it. Brunson will probably be second. If not, he'll be third. Steph on the fence, probably not making an All-NBA team. Booker not making an All-NBA team. Did KD play 65? I think he did. He'll make one. AD, nope. Nope. Defensive teams, it's not gonna end up like anything like this, I don't think. But we'll talk about that later. Award predictions. Jokic was my pick. He should be the MVP. He won't be. They're going to give it to Shea because of fatigue. It's really too bad. You average a triple-double on the most efficient season of any NBA season ever, and you don't win. It's just mind-boggling. And then we move on. Defensive player of the year would have been Wemby. Rookie of the year, it is not going to be Dalton Knecht. He just didn't play enough. CJ didn't play enough. Wemby didn't play enough. Jamal Mosley is not going to be the coach of the year. And Hustle Award, who the fuck knows? Okay, moving on. We're going to do my predictions now. So, starting with the West. I think it is going to be Memphis in this spot, most likely. And I think the Thunder are going to handle them very easily in 4 games. I think this is going to be a fun series, but I don't think it's going to be as fun as a lot of people are saying. I got the Nuggets in 6. But if it were to go the other way, I also think the Clippers would win in 6. I don't think it's going to be as close of a series as people think. I think it's either going to be the Nuggets were truly invigorated by this firing and they're really going to come together and just start beating the crap out of teams, or it was all kind of fraud and they just got excited a little bit and the Clippers are going to handle them because the Clippers look great. The Clippers really look great. Moving on here, we got the Lakers and the Wolves. I think this is going to be a good series. I really do. But again, I don't think the Wolves match up great against the Lakers. And this is kind of just speculation because, again, we haven't really seen these teams meet since, I believe, January, maybe early February. And that's just hard to go off of. I mean, these are two totally different teams at this point. I got the Lakers in 6, though. Rockets, I think, will be playing the Warriors. A lot of people think that the Warriors can win this one. I think they can. But I think the Rockets are going to prove to people that they're not anything to mess with. And I think, Jimmy has a bit of mystique around him, and that's amazing, but he has not played in the West. The West is a different animal than, beating up on those Eastern Conference teams. I just don't think it's going to go for them how they want it to. And I think the Rockets are going to take advantage of their home court. And I actually think they're going to handle it. They're going to handle it pretty easy in 6 games. Moving on to the East, we got the Cavs here. They will probably be playing the Magic. I could see it going either way. The Hawks could win that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. They're going to beat the crap out of either team. But Pacers-Bucks is going to be a great series, but I do not like the Bucks' depth. I don't like their defense. You could say the same about the Pacers, but those guys are some offensive masterminds. They are geniuses on offense, and I think they're going to take care of business. Moving on to the Knicks Pistons, I think it's going to be a great series. It's probably, for me, a lot of people are saying Lakers Wolves, and that's probably my top 3. That's going to be a fun series to watch, as much as I hate the hype around every single Lakers adjacent thing. But I do think that's genuinely going to be a good series, more so because of Ant. I want to see how he rises to the occasion and how the Timberwolves either, prove to people that they can, be successful as constructed, or maybe it'll, show everyone that, we were all right and that trading Cat was a bad idea. I think the Pistons are going to take care of business here. A lot of people aren't going to like this, but I got the Pistons in 7. I think the Knicks, they are going to be severely outcoached. They are going to be overworked. I think, injuries are always something you think about with them once it gets to this point in the season, because they've been playing freaking 48 minutes a game, each and every one of them, and Tibbs has no idea how to manage minutes. And I just think they're going to face a rude awakening this season, and it's going to force them, hopefully, if you're a Knicks fan, to fire Tibbs. And if you're a Knicks fan who thinks you should fire Tibbs and hire Malone, I don't know what to tell you, man. Maybe basketball isn't your thing. Again, Celtics, they're good. They're very good. They're gonna absolutely dominate. All right. On to the Thunder and the Nuggets. I just think the Nuggets actually match up really well against the Thunder. I think the Thunder handle any other team besides maybe the Lakers pretty easily, but I just think the Nuggets match up really well against these guys. The season series was 2-2, even with Malone. I really think David Adelman is a huge upgrade. I think this is going to be an easier series than a lot of people think. I'm sure if it doesn't work out this way, I'll get clowned to no end, but I genuinely think this. Like, it's not just, me rooting for my team. I would be very worried if we were playing the Wolves. If we're playing the Wolves, I even, in a way, worry more about the Clippers. I just don't think the Thunder have the weapons defensively or offensively to outpace us in a 7-game series. I don't. And I actually think it'll be a 6-game series. But Lakers-Rockets, as much as I just talked up the Rockets, and I hate the Lakers so much, I think it's another kind of matchup thing. I think the Lakers have a really good matchup against the Rockets, and I think they'll win pretty easily. Moving on, we have the Cavs and the Pacers. I just don't think the Pacers are that good. It's part of why I think that Bucks series is going to go 7, because I think the Bucks are terrible. So I'm going to have the Cavs winning pretty handily in this one. And then Celtics-Pistons, kind of same story here. I think the Pistons will grab 1, but they're just too young, too inexperienced. And then finishing things up here, got the Western Conference Finals, a rematch of 2 years ago. And, what happened last time when we played the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals? We won the whole damn thing. And I think we're going to do it pretty easily. I could see it being a 5-game series, but I think JJ Redick's a really good coach, and he'll be able to get his team 2 games. Moving on, Cavs-Celtics. I really love the Cavs this year. I think they could surprise us and make it all the way, but I I just really think the Celtics are built too well. They're coached okay enough to get past the Cavs, I think. And I just think they have too many weapons. I think they have too many weapons, and they're just going to be an onslaught of threes. And there's going to be 1 or 2 games they drop just because they won't stop shooting threes. But I think they're going to take care of business, and I don't actually think they're going to have a huge problem. I almost want to say 6 games, but they have weird series sometimes against teams like this. And so I'm going to say it goes 7. So we have the Nuggets and the Celtics. This has been kind of my dream matchup for 3 years now. Not because I like seeing the Celtics get anywhere. I hate the Celtics almost as much as I hate the Lakers. In some ways, even more. But I feel like, beating the Heat that year, as awesome it was to win our first championship, that Heat team was not good. They kind of, really played their way there. Like, I don't want to take anything away from them, but they just did not have the weapons to match up against us. And I'm surprised it even went 5 games. I just don't think that there was ever a chance of the Heat winning that. And I would really love to have, I think Jokic, for his legacy, needs a classic finals win. And if this went, 6 or 7 games and Jokic was just absolutely dogging these dudes, wow. Wow. If he just takes care of business, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. Against a team like the Celtics that just, won a championship and they're trying to defend the title, and Jokic just takes them down, that would be beautiful. It really would. So I got the Nuggets. I got the Nuggets in 6. Yeah, you can tell, I'm a little biased here. I do think that it very easily could go to the Celtics. I think it could very easily even go to the Cavs. In a wild, wild world, maybe the Lakers. And, it's still possible for it to go to the Thunder. But I could see the Lakers even beating the Thunder if they beat us. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited. I think, seeing David Adelman coach these guys in the playoffs for the first time is something I've been hoping for a while now. As much as I love Malone and I'm going to miss him, I've been thinking we need this change for a while. But I think there are a lot of other great series lined up. Definitely keep your eye on the Lakers-Minnesota series, and definitely keep your eye on the Knicks-Pistons series, because I think those are going to be really fun alongside the Nuggets and Clippers. So, yeah. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you guys think of my preseason predictions. Clown me for the ones I got wrong. Let me know what you think of these playoff predictions. If you clown me, I'll clown you back on these because I'm real confident. But yeah, stay well, yo. And I got to go. I'm about to go drink with my boy and with Olive. See you next time.